So, hey everyone, this is Brianna, and I'm going to be doing a recap for the Bachelor Rachel Lindsay season. This is week 7, I believe. I'm not too sure, but week 7, this is when they meet her family and the first half of the fantasy suite dates. So, I haven't done any recaps for the show beforehand. I really thought I was going to because this is our first Black Bachelorette, but I'm really not good at this YouTube thing. I keep saying that I'm gonna do it, and then I never do because I gotta work on it. I gotta work on being consistent. But I really wanted to talk about this episode more towards the end because of Peter. But yeah, we're just gonna get into it. So in the last episode, we saw that she got rid of Dean. Bless his heart. She really cared about him. He really cared about her. But I guess his family situation was a little too much, and I guess his youth might have also been a problem as well. Though I personally thought that Dean was ready for a relationship and marriage and to start a family. You can't really count someone based on like their age, you know? It's really about their maturity. I'm sorry, I'm holding back like a burp or something. Um, but yeah, Dean has been through a lot, having to raise himself essentially and mature a lot faster than most of us do because of the death of a parent at a really young age. So I remember him in his one on one, his very first one on one with Rachel, explaining that, he is looking for that family and a wife and kids really soon because clearly his own family is strained since his mother's untimely passing. And so I felt like he, more than maybe anyone else there, was really, really ready to start his own family. But she said that he was too young and not ready for that. So it is what it is, right? So we go into this week, and usually by this point in time, they would have the fantasy dates first. I mean, yeah, the fantasy suite dates first, and then then the final two, I believe. I'm putting up two fingers. That's four. Two. Thank you. They'd have that when it's down to the final two guys, and then they'd meet the family, and then we could go into the rose ceremony, and I mean the proposal, the final rose. Yeah, that. So, we see here that I think it was Peter. He ended up being first to like meet the Lindsay family. And so we know since last episode as well that Peter expressed that he is not ready for marriage. He does not, or proposing. He's not ready to propose to Rachel. He doesn't see himself being ready to propose to Rachel anytime soon, at least not within the time frame that they have left. They have about 2 weeks left to get those feelings that they need to be able to go down on one knee and say, Rachel, will you be my wife, be my fiance, whatever. Like, I want you in my life forever and always. But, yeah, Peter said, girl, don't hold your breath. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I like you. Like, I really, really care about you. But, that whole proposal thing, like, I don't know about that. And listen, I think anybody that's not in the little bachelor world, like all of us viewers, kind of know that Peter, like, he's being rational. He's being very practical about the situation. They've spent at most maybe 72 hours together in total. And I mean literally just them together, all their conversations that they've had, all the alone time that they've had. They probably spent like 72 hours together. And maybe I'm even like being generous when I say that, right? Um, Up until this point, before the fantasy suite dates. So it's not far fetched that he's like, I don't think that I can propose to you. You know what I'm saying? And so I think I appreciate that, and Rachel's family as well. They appreciate that, but Peter, I guess he understood that he had given Rachel some doubt because he found himself in the bottom two last week. It was between him and Dean ended up being sent home. But that got him shook. Like, he was like, oh, snap, like, I was that close to being axed. So maybe I need to tell her that, like, I really care about her and I really do see her in my life. But he was just trying to smooth things over with Rachel. And Give her that confidence that she needed to maybe bring him on to the next round or something like that. He definitely does want to keep dating her and seeing her. Unfortunately, that's not enough for this show. It's enough in real life, but it's not enough for this show. But the family, like I said, appreciated it because, once again, they're also not in the Bachelor bubble. They can be objective about the situation and say, yes, of course, you guys need more time. So, of course, I don't expect that you're going to be in love after 2 months or, ready to propose and get down on one knee after 2 months. And then they go on to Eric's date with Rachel. Eric and Rachel, they have a really good time. Um, Eric, at first, he was kind of getting a little bit of the third degree from her family. They seemed a lot more skeptical about him than they did Peter, just because Eric has not been in love before. Eric has not met a girl's family in a very, very long time, and Rachel was the first girl that he brought home to meet his family. So rightfully so, they're skeptical, but I think people are putting a little bit too much weight on Eric never having been in love before. It's like, there needs to be a first time for everything, right? And there's a lot of people, high school sweethearts, like that, what they had in high school was puppy love or first love, and it's lasted until this point. So, in actuality, I don't see why they need to be so skeptical about this being Eric's first time possibly being in love. But they are. However, Eric is a really fun guy. He's really cool. Like, in the beginning, I wasn't his biggest fan. I didn't hate him like I felt like everyone else did. Like, I thought everyone else was a little nitpicky about him and critical of him. I always saw him kind of like as the victim in the whole Lee situation. And sure, sometimes he did come off a little insecure, but I understand, it's about you and your relationship with this one person and all you can think about is this one person. And all you can talk about is this one person because there's nothing else to occupy your time. So I completely understand him expressing his frustrations about his and Rachel's relationship in the beginning, especially when it seemed as if she was giving a lot more attention to other guys. But now that he's, getting farther along, I think he sees, yes, okay, she's definitely into me as well, so I'm not going to even trip about these other guys. And now you see he's just confident, and they have the most comfortable chemistry ever. With Brian, it's really sexual and sensual, and with Peter, it's really mature, It's like they've been together for a while, And it's comfortable, but it's not. It's like an old kind of comfy. I don't know. A boring kind of comfy, I guess I mean to say. Because Peter is kind of like a boring individual. No offense, but yeah. But her and Eric, like, it's a fun, comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So I really enjoy them together. I don't think he's gonna win, unfortunately. But personally, I am Team Eric. I think he is like the best person ever because I just don't trust Brian. And moving on to Brian now, he kind of gets the third degree more than anybody else. Everyone was really, really skeptical about Brian. They see what everybody else sees. I've watched other recappers say things about Brian, and I agree as well. He kind of seems like a charmer. He always says the right things, and like Dean said, he's had time in Miami to date all these women. Like his mom said, like, you've dated like all these girls, and you pick the one on the show, like that's who you fall in love with. But yeah, he's had this time to cultivate his game and like his swag and how he's going to approach a girl and what to say in this situation and what to say to make her feel, confident and reassured about your relationship and all this stuff. And he could mean it and he could not. I don't know at this point in time because he brought her home to his family. I would hope that he's super genuine about it and he really does want to make Rachel his wife and the future mother of his kids. Or I mean the mother of his future kids. So yeah, excuse me. So yeah, but he was getting bombarded with all these questions, and Rachel had to step in maybe one or two times, tell her family like, "Yo, can you guys like lay off your being really aggressive with him, and he even had to step away at one point because they're like, why do you like Rachel? What do you think Rachel brings out in you? And the sister was always like, stop saying love, like everything you love, like how you love our family after you've only met us for like an hour. You just keep saying the right things and it just comes off disingenuous. I just don't believe you. Okay, that's what we're gonna say, right? So, yeah, they're not really feeling Brian, but eventually they all sort of still give their blessing anyway, because it's just like, Rachel, it's what you want, girl, like, we're not marrying him, you are, and you seem to really care about him, so that's what it is. So, moving into the dates in Spain. So they say bye to the family. Her beautiful sister, her sister is so pretty and she really is glowing in her pregnancy. Yeah, if I ever get pregnant, when and if I get pregnant, if and when, whatever. I hope I look as fly as Constance because she looks really, really nice, really, really pretty. Um, but yeah, they go off to Spain, and the first date again is with Eric. And they have a good time. He finally says that he loves her because remember, Rachel was kind of talking about this the week before, that Eric did at first say, oh, I'm falling in love with you. And then he's like, what I mean by that is, and he kind of completely took it back in a way. And he was just like, I really just care about you. Like, that's what I meant. Like, don't worry about that love part. Forget that. But this time he actually did say it. She kind of forced it out of him. Like, how do you feel? What do you think about me? Like, what's going on? And so he said, like, yeah, like, I love you. And after he said, I love you, like, before he was really hesitant to say it. But then after he said, I love you, he couldn't stop saying, I love you. Like, I counted it about, like, a good 3 or 4 times. He said, I love you. Even at the end, he was like a quick little love you when she, like, went into the car. So, like, he's really trying to embrace this. He's like, okay, like, you got me in my feelings now. Like, I finally admitted it. Now I'm not scared to say it. Like, I want to shout it from the rooftops. I love you, Rachel. So, yeah, that went well. I'm kind of rushing through this whole recap. Usually I would, like, do things piece by piece. You wouldn't know that, though, since I haven't done any other recaps. So I don't even know what I'm talking about. But usually I like to, like, talk about every little specific thing because I have a million opinions on every little thing that I see in any show that I watch, especially in The Bachelorette. But I really wanted to talk about the issue with Rachel and Peter. That's where we leave off. So they are also in Spain again, and they go to a vineyard. Or is it a vineyard? I don't know. Something. It's a wine place. It's wine country in Spain, and they find out that they have a little special place. So in this vineyard, they have their own little locker. I think it says Rachel and Pedro, which is Spanish for Peter, or the Spanish version of Peter. And there's wine in there for them, and it's really cute. It's like a little keepsake sort of thing. Oh, speaking of keepsakes. So when Brian went on his date with Rachel to meet her family, they ended up wearing their matching watches, and Eric took note of that. And I think that says a lot about Brian and, where Rachel sees herself and where her heart really is. So even though I'm going to get into Peter in a second, I think Brian wins, like, hands down. Like, Brian not only got to meet her family, but he also got to meet her friends, her real friends, not her little fake Bachelorette friends that we saw earlier on in the season, like Corinne and Raven and Jasmine and, I can't remember the other girl's name. Shark Girl. We're just going to say that. Shark Dolphin Girl. Enunciate English. Yeah, let's do that. So yeah, he got to see her friends, not just her family like everyone else did, and they already have like couple matching things. Like it really solidifies them as like a unit. So I kind of think it's Brian's game to lose at this point, but Peter is actually just losing it for himself instead. So I'm pretty sure Brian's gonna win. So yeah, on to Peter now. Um, Rachel once again starts to address the fact that no, okay, so the conversation started, and I guess she was like, "So what did you talk about with my family?" And Peter starts to say like, "Yeah, I did ask for your mom's blessing, but I didn't ask for her blessing to propose to you like we should be doing, but instead to continue to date you." And Rachel's like, "Oh my gosh, this again, like." You're really just wanting to date me at the end of all of this, because at the end of all of this, I want fiance, soon to be husband, not just a boyfriend. Like I can do that boyfriend thing back at home. I don't need a show to get a boyfriend, right? TBH, you don't even need the show to get a fiance, but apparently you think you do, so fine, whatever. But yeah. So they're in the middle of having this deep conversation, and then this little girl walks by. Of course, she's a plant by the producers because she didn't even seem like she was interested in talking to Rachel or anything like that. But she went over to Rachel anyway. They held hands and, interacted for a little bit. Then they went to stomp grapes, and then it was a night portion, I believe, and that's when she and Peter got to talk again, and it ended up with her in tears. And it's because once again, she was saying, I want an engagement at the end of this. And Peter's like, no, like an engagement is too much, because when I get engaged, I plan to do it only once, just like marriage. And Rachel's like, no, like my idea of engagement is that we get engaged and then we still get to date and see where it goes, and then hopefully it ends all in marriage. But I mean, we don't have to get married tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of found fault with with what Rachel was saying. I totally agree with Peter. I personally, if somebody's gonna pop the question to me, right? If I'm gonna get engaged, I expect to be married like within a year's time from that time that I got engaged. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, no offense to anybody out there that's been engaged for like 2 plus, 3 plus, 10 plus years. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't know. Like, are you still trying to figure out if you want to get married? Because I kind of thought that's what you did when you decided to get engaged. Like, isn't that saying, we've dated all this time, I know for a fact that you are the one, let's get married and let's make that a reality sooner rather than later. I never understood like long engagements. I never will. People like comment down below your idea about a long engagement. I'm sorry, I'm getting married like God's willing within a year of that engagement. Like no point waiting any longer than that. If it's about the funds or something like that, like do something when you within your budget. Do something, low budget, or wait to, get engaged when you have the means to do what you guys are thinking about. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't plan on being engaged for 2 plus years. We're not doing that. Then what was the point? We could have just kept being boyfriend and girlfriend if that was the case. You know what I'm saying? You get me? You get me? Good. Okay. So I think that's what Peter was saying. He was like, no, if I get engaged to you, I plan on being married within the year. I need to date you for more than a year, because technically I've only been with you at this point for like, what, 72 hours? I definitely need at least a year for that. And if I'm going to get proposed to you and married within the year, then that's not enough time. And Rachel is kind of just like, no, like she's one of those like, we can be engaged for 2-3 years if we need to. Or maybe she's just trying to like, tell him to calm down and like trick him and be like, no, like we don't need to get married tomorrow. And then he puts a ring on it and she's like, so how about next week? Like I already got the wedding dress and the bridesmaid's gown set up. So when are we going to do this? I don't know. But like, I was just thinking like her idea doesn't make sense, because she's saying she doesn't want to leave this experience, without a fiance, a soon-to-be husband. She didn't come here to leave with a boyfriend, but essentially that's what you would be leaving with if that's your idea of engagement. then that's basically you leaving with a boyfriend because you still plan on being engaged for 3+ years. You might as well just be like, we're dating. Because this marriage thing is not going to happen anytime soon. So, yeah, I understand the two differences. I don't really think that's what she means either. She's just trying to like calm him down. Like, you're worried about marrying someone that you don't know well enough. And I'm letting you know that we don't need to get married tomorrow. You have time to get to know me. And he's like, no, if I am getting engaged to someone, that means I've already gotten to know them. And so that's their thing. So everybody was saying like it was a stupid argument. I'm just trying to put it in better words, I hope, if that makes sense. You know, he's saying I get engaged to someone because I know that's who I want to be with. She's saying like engage me now and you can figure out I'm who you want to be with afterwards. But I also think that Rachel is wanting this engagement because this is what every other bachelorette previous to her has had. Every bachelorette has ended up every season of the Bachelorette has ended up with the woman being proposed to at the end. Say for Desiree's season, she had a little Peter. His name was Brooks. So actually, Peter is Brooks 2.0. But yes, the original Peter was Brooks, and he was like, I am not proposing to you. Like, I'm not where you are at. And so she ended up getting proposed to by someone else, but it was clear to everyone that Brooks was the one that she wanted to be with, and she kind of just took the other proposal in the end just to say that, you know, she had a fiance or whatever. And yeah, I think Rachel is just like, I don't want to be that one. I don't want to be different. I want the same magical experience that all these other bachelorettes before me had. So why can't you just play along? Like, why do you have to be difficult? Why did you sign up for this if you know you don't want to propose at the end? Like, and I get her frustration, and I completely understand. And another talking point that I also thought of while trying to, like, you know, break it down between the two of them, this like conflict between the two of them, is Rachel is a black woman, okay? That's not lost on us because ABC, that was how they were touting her season, like, first black bachelorette, yay, you know, everything like that. And so yeah, Rachel's the first black bachelorette. We know statistically or reportedly that black women are the least desired race of women. Just saying, just putting it out there. It doesn't make my heart happy. And it doesn't mean that, you know, nobody's interested in us. We're beautiful. We're gorgeous. We have black girl magic, okay? So it doesn't mean that personally you're not going to get anybody. But statistically, reportedly, we're the least desired women out there, right? It is what it is. And so it would kind of be bad, you know, if the very first season, Bachelorette season, to culminate without, you know, a proposal at the end would also happen to be the very first Bachelorette season that featured a black lead. It would continue to perpetuate this idea that black women are unloved, unwanted, and are not wife material, right? And I don't know if Rachel is considering this consciously or subconsciously, but I definitely think it's something that she is aware of as well, because it's something that I thought of. It kind of came to me, but it's something that I thought of. It'd be really bad for the first person to just, the first girl to not be proposed to also be the first black girl that we ever see on this show. It looks really, really bad. It's like she wasn't good enough to propose to because she was a black woman. I can't see forever with her. It doesn't look too good. So all this considered, I understand why she's so very obsessed with being engaged, but I definitely see Peter's point. He's being very rational about the situation, and I don't think that she is being irrational about the situation. I think she definitely respects his opinion, and maybe in another situation she'd be right there with him, because I mean, I think they both clearly understand that they need more time with one another. He's saying, I want more time up front. She's saying we can have that time afterwards. But yeah, just Peter, Rachel, I don't know who to call out. Like, Peter either needs to fall in line or Rachel needs to get rid of him. And Peter, knowing that he, has other competition out there and knowing that he can lose Rachel and still standing so strong in his convictions that if he's going to get engaged, he's only going to be engaged once and he's not going to propose to Rachel because I'm pretty sure at this point he's drawn his line in the sand. Before it was kind of like it's a possibility that I won't propose to you at the end. At this point, I'm pretty sure he's like, I'm not proposing to you at the end. So you can forget about that. So basically, it's like, Rachel, the ball's in your court. Are you going to get rid of him or are you not? If at this point, I think if you keep him around, you're guaranteeing yourself a boyfriend. So at the end, all we're going to see is somebody going, hey guys, we're finally going steady. And if you get rid of him, then you could be with Brian. I don't like Brian, but he's doing and saying everything that Rachel wants and needs to hear. And he's acting the most appropriate, and they have the best chemistry. So I think he's going to win. I think Rachel needs to get rid of Peter because he's not going to give her what she wants, which I find sort of selfish, only just because even though his idea is rational, why did you sign up for the show? That's the whole premise of the show. You date and then it ends in a proposal. Why would you go on the show, let this girl fall for you? Like, I don't know. Either take yourself out or fall in line. That's the only thing I have to say to Peter. Take yourself out or fall in line. It's going to completely have to break her heart if she's the one to, say yay or nay on your relationship, to know that she's going to be the one that has to end your relationship. So just be a man about it. You shouldn't have been there in the first place if that's how you thought about the situation. So either bow out or fall in line. So that was my piece. That was my recap. Hopefully I'll do others. I have another show that I want to recap. I'm watching Insecure right now, and actually it just premiered this week, so I think that's the best one to recap. I also watched Claws, but that's a few episodes in. Not that it's stopping me right now since I'm doing The Bachelorette, but whatever. So thank you for watching. I hope you like. Please comment. Subscribe, please, if you want to do that as well. I'm just not good at videos right now, so I'm not going to say you need to subscribe, but like and comment because I love to have dialogue with you guys. I have plenty of thoughts, and I'm sure you have plenty of thoughts as well and ideas, and we can share them back and forth. So thank you so much for watching and entertaining me. If you made it this far, then you're a real one. You're a real one. I thank you, and I appreciate you. So bye. Bye.